Welcome on this wonderful day to my pick of the week of IT-related topics. In these videos you will find knowledge and noteworthy things for developers and IT architects in regular intervals. It's about new discoveries, it's also about hype topics, as well as oldies but goldies. I've been fascinated by these topics for more than 30 years up to now, and I really hope I can show you some things which might be interesting for you as well. I wish you all a lot of fun in the next few minutes. So let's go. Hello again. After I paused this channel for a short while, I'm glad to tell you that I'm back with a series of new videos. In these videos I want to share my experience about my new Surface Laptop Copilot+PC with you. Yes, it's true. I pre-ordered one a couple of weeks ago and it arrived yesterday. And why am I interested in that machine? Well, this machine is one of the first notebooks with Windows 11 based on the Snapdragon ARM processor. And the interesting question for me is now, is this now a really new chapter for Windows and Microsoft in the PC industry, or is it just the next try for Microsoft to bring Windows on ARM? We all know that Microsoft tried this before, but without great success. This time everything is different. Microsoft promises great performance, long-lasting battery life, and no problems running x86 software. Well, so let's find out. One thing before I start. No, I'm not sponsored by Microsoft or by anyone else. I'm just interested in the new technology and the ARM processors for Windows. That's it, not more. And so first of all, I ruined the audio track of the unboxing, so I will speak to you now some moments later. So yeah, what do we get if we buy this Surface laptop, which is inside and which I try to cut out with my knife? Yeah, it's a normal package which comes from Microsoft directly in this case. And you can just open it in the standard way, so just open the box. And we find inside this box the notebook itself. So this is the 15-inch version. It's the Snapdragon Elite processor with 12 cores. 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabyte storage. So this is kind of, I would say, the mid-range machine, what you can find here. And in the box itself is the notebook. And yeah, you find below this case the power connector. The power connector itself is really astonishing small and looks nice. It's really very, very small and it's very light. So this is quite nice and was a nice surprise. And then you have some warranty papers, etc. To be honest, I didn't take a look at the papers up to now. And yeah, well, so that's it. Nothing more. Nothing special inside, that's it. And after you put the notebook out of the box, you will find the standard installation process for Windows, which you can now follow in the video over the next few moments. I just shortened this up a little bit. So from the beginning up to the end, the installation process so the first start up and update of the machine took for me about 30 minutes. And afterwards it's the new version is installed. I will come back later which version this is exactly. Yeah, what is really nice in the first, if you just look at the machine and you look at the port itself, you have two USB-C ports and one USB-A port. Yes, you can connect, if I'm ready, up to 3 monitors with 60 Hertz. So this is also quite nice for such a notebook. And what you see here, and this is why I didn't deleted that part of the video, what you see is it has a glossy display. So that's me. It's really more glossy than, for example, an Apple notebook. I will show you the difference in other videos. But this is I would say a point which is not so nice. All other stuff of this notebook is quite of a nice and decent quality. So the keyboard itself is great, the touchpad is great. You have a touch screen. This is something which is really nice, of course, if you use it, or if you like to use it somehow, then you can use this touch screen. It has all the new stuff inside, just like Windows Hello with the infrared camera. So that's just quite nice. But the display is quite glossy. So I would say if you are sitting outside and it's a sunny day, then you have a lot of reflections. Of course, when you do a video recording of it, the reflections are quite higher than you would see them as a human person. So while you see me configuring the Windows 11 installation here, let's discuss a little bit why it might be a game changer, this new ARM processor. I think most of you already know, but I want to summarize this a little bit now. The starting point for Windows for ARM processors is the time when Microsoft tried to enter the mobile market. And this first version, Windows RT, was announced in 2011, and in 2012 this Microsoft Surface tablets came out. Well, they hadn't that much success. They were quite slow, but they also had a lot of limitations regarding the software which was running on these machines. And so later on, these devices were not produced any longer. So in 2019, Microsoft started to produce the Surface Pro X. This was another machine from the Surface family, which was ARM-based. And, well, it was not that successful in those days, still because of the limitations regarding the software emulation and regarding the speed. So these machines were significantly slower than the Intel-based machines. And the emulation layer for the needed x86 software was also not capable of running x64 applications. And therefore, there was a lack of software in those days. I think the shock came with the M1 processor from Apple and the first M1 machines from Apple. These machines proved that it was possible to build, well, ARM-based machines, which were really fast. So from the performance standpoint, quite great, especially regarding to other notebooks in these days. And on the other hand, they were quite power efficient. So they consumed much less battery for doing the same. And we suddenly had machines on the Apple side with which it was possible to work for a whole day, for example. So the battery lasts for about 20 hours or so. And this was really a game changer. And everyone was just looking on the Microsoft side and said, okay, what do we have on our side? Under this pressure, Intel introduced then a series of additional processors in its x86 lineup starting in 2019. And these processors improved performance and could compete with the M1, M2 and M3 based MacBooks. However, when it comes to power efficiency, ARM-based systems still lead the way. And this is especially evident in the battery life of notebooks. So users of current MacBooks for example, typically don't need to plug in during the day. They enjoy usage times of 20 hours or more. And as a user of a 13th generation Windows notebook with an i5 processor, a Dell one, I've really noticed that these devices are indeed fast. I will show you some performance test afterwards, but they generate significant heat, produce unpleasant fan noise, and have limited battery life, lasting only for a few hours. While, we should never rule out the possibility that Intel and AMD could fundamentally change the situation for x86, as Intel proved in the past, but the current difference remains. Microsoft, with its Windows operating system, is naturally under pressure as the share of Apple devices and users has increased over the years after a series of unsuccessful attempts to replicate Apple's success. So I just want to bring in mind the Zune player, for example, the Windows Phone disaster, the Microsoft Store, which was almost always empty, and the tablets. After all of these disasters, Microsoft found success when focusing on their cloud business with Azure and its software product Teams, for example, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then there came the topic of AI. And Microsoft was positioned absolutely perfectly with this engagement with OpenAI and with the possibility to run all the AI stuff inside Microsoft Azure. Since then, Microsoft has labeled everything possible with this label Copilot. This includes GitHub Copilot, Copilot on Windows, GitHub for Microsoft 365, and now they've introduced this Copilot+PC. I don't know how to pronounce Copilot+PC, I don't know, as a new label for notebooks following a specific specification. We'll revisit this specification later on. What's important, though, is that Microsoft has introduced ARM-based devices with its new Surface lineup, adhering exclusively to this specification. Later this year, we likely see x86-based devices as well, but the signal is very clear. ARM is no longer just an option from Microsoft's perspective, it's the preferred platform. For this to hold true, ARM must be competitive in the following areas. First, performance. Second, device runtime. And third, and I think the most important, software compatibility. And precisely to test this, I've ordered this notebook. So let's see how it performs. Just a few words about the feature that you can already see during the installation, which is teasered here. So this feature is called Recall. This feature has already been criticized significantly, and yes, Microsoft has decided to remove it before delivering these notebooks. So it's just a teaser, and it may come later this year, it says. I will test that, and I will check whether this function actually proves helpful in everyday use, or if privacy concerns outweigh its benefits. As I mentioned before, the installation process took about 35 minutes, and afterwards you have the actual Windows version on the machine. So this is, of course, Windows 11. It's the Home edition, so it's Windows 11 Home, and you will have the 24H2 version on it, and the build number is 26100.863. So this is the build number. This may differ for future versions, of course, but this is what you get when you just order the machine now and install it the first time. After the installation, of course, I wanted to have a first impression of the performance of the machine, so I just used the Speedometer 3.0 web performance test and compared that to some other machines which are laying around here in my room. just a few words up front. So the Speedometer 3.0 test focuses more or less on single core speed. So these 12 cores of the Snapdragon will not help in this case. It's just more or less the performance of a single core speed here. Yeah, you can see the test running here. I speeded that up a little bit. But at the end, and I ran the test a couple of times, was the average value was about 22. If you compare this to my other machines, I think that's quite interesting. So this is this machine here was based on the Snapdragon X Elite with 22. And then I just tested it on my Dell machine. This is a small business machine. It's an i5 12th generation. And what is interesting is here, we are about the same speed. So this is a couple of years old and quite interesting. My desktop PC, 10th generation i5 processor, is significantly lower. And in comparison to an even older MacBook Pro from 2019, this is in Core i9, this is also quite slower. So that's double the speed from my MacBook Pro from 2019. Quite interesting. But performance is not everything. I'm just interested in how this machine could be used as a developer. So especially all the tools we need, are they available? What is the performance of these tools? Some of them are listed here. So what is about WSL2, which is quite important for me? What about Flutter and all the Android emulators? Are they running? Is it a problem? Is the performance good overall? And so on. And I think there's a lot to discover. And follow me on this channel if you are also interested and what is the outcome of this. So thank you very much for joining up to now, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.